Collectors Canvas, the podcast where we explore the world of sports card collecting and the captivating stories that collectors bring to the table. I'm your host, Aaron, the proud owner of Tropic Collects, and today we have an engaging chat with someone who's actually been in the hobby for over 40 plus years. Please welcome to the podcast, Sluggers55, also known as Karlos.
Welcome. How are you? I'm great. How are you guys doing tonight? How are you doing tonight, Aaron?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Very well.
So I'm going to just ask you a couple questions. You're going to give me answers. You know how this goes. You've been on multiple podcasts before, I assume.
I have very many podcasts, and I'm looking forward to hearing your questions and going from there.
Amazing. So let's start at the beginning. So what first got you into sports card collecting? And how did you transition from being a collector to owning a shop? Because I know you own a shop, or you used to own a shop.
So I got into collecting with Star Wars cards from 1977. Those were my very first cards I bought, and then I transitioned to sports cards 2 years later with the Wayne Gretzky rookie year. And then I've been buying and selling cards probably for the duration of the 80s. Getting into the 90s, I bought Sluggers, and I owned it for the better part of 17 years. So that was a really big part of my life, but I transitioned from being a collector at that point to actually running a business with it. So it was a big change, but it was a lot of fun back in those days. I mean, it was a long time ago when I first got it. We were talking about 1991, so almost
Before I
33
was
years
born.
ago. Yeah, before you were born. Right.
So you go to a lot of the bigger shows. As
Yes, I
someone
do.
who goes to these bigger shows, what trends have you noticed in the sports card market per se?
There's been a lot of big trends. I mean, if you're talking pre-COVID, during COVID, that's been the biggest change probably in the last 4 or 5 years. But before that, I mean, there's been multiple changes. You have to remember, I've been doing this almost pre-internet and pre-eBay and pre-social media. So all of that's grown tremendously, as far as I can tell you. Those are probably the biggest changes. Probably social media is probably the biggest change, and technology, the fact that you can look up comps. Before it used to be only the Beckett magazine. Now you can look up comps in real time, whether they finished an hour ago, a day ago. So that's probably the biggest difference is technology, right?
Yeah, technology has changed over the years. It's changed drastically since even I was born. We barely had Google and stuff, and now look at us. Like we're all technological, literally all in. Like a phone, a MacBook, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's like that's a change. So, like, what are some of like? I know you've been to a lot of shows, so
Yeah.
therefore you probably came across some like favorite cards or grail cards, and I think you own some, if I'm not mistaken.
I own a lot of Grail cards. It just depends on which sport you might be talking about. But I've owned anything from Mickey Mantles to the top Jordans to Brady's to any of those bigger cards,
Stuff
right?
like that.
Yeah. I've owned that card many, many times. I think my highest grade in that card was a PSA 9.
Oh, that goes for a pretty penny.
Yeah, PSA 9s of that card go for about $20,000.
Yeah,
About
that's
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I've owned that card many, many times in many grades,
I
plus
assume
triple
this one.
auto. Yep, I have about 3 or 4 copies of that one.
Yeah, the Llewellyn to PSA 2. It's one of my favorites in my collection for sure.
I
So
remember.
you're also known for the 86 Fleer set too.
Mm.
At the shows, I see you with the 86 Fleer cards. Like, can you share a little bit about that set?
I've been collecting 86 Fleers since '86, so I've always been collecting that set, and of course Jordan stuff, right?
Yeah, Jordan was.
That at the time, I don't think that set was iconic as it is today, but I collected it because it was one of the first basketball cards that actually came into Canada that you could open packs and buy and sell and trade and collect. So it wasn't a big of a deal in the mid 80s, I want to say, right? But it got bigger when the 90s rolled around and even nowadays. I was on a podcast earlier and we had talked about, somebody had mentioned, would I thought a PSA 10 would have sold for 700,000 at its height. I would have never guessed that for Michael Jordan. Never, never, not that one. I mean, I figured that card probably be worth like 20 grand one day, maybe 20 grand, but 700,000, I would have never guessed that.
It's
And
crazy.
some of the other cards go for a lot. Do you know what a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sticker PSA 10 sells for in that 86 Flair?
How much?
Probably around $100,000.
That's not even his rookie year.
Not even his rookie year. It's a big card. That's probably the second biggest card in the 86 Flair. Is
It
the
wouldn't
Kareem
be the
Abdul-Jabbar
Charles or
sticker.
the Akeem. It wouldn't be any of those.
Certain players like Johnny Moore, PSA 10 of that is like $25,000, right? There are a few players in there because they're so short printed. So to get a PSA 10 is really, really difficult in 86
Exactly.
Fleer because of the centering, right?
Yeah, you'd have to have multiple cases, I'd assume.
You probably would. You'd have to do a lot of hunting, but I mean, it's not a short printed set. It's just a tough set to get centered. That's the key to that set.
So that set was actually significant because it had so many rookies.
Yeah.
Could you share some of the rookies that it had in it, like the big names?
Well, after Jordan, there's Barkley, Olajuwon. Those are the two biggest ones. After that, there's smaller guys. Well, it's not smaller, but Dominique Wilkins.
He's big.
Yeah, he's big. Just his card goes for a lot if it's centered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas. The set is just full of some of the
Ice
biggest rookies. Yeah.
Dumars.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit of 96.
Well, I think that
And 86.
there are a few other cards that sell for a little bit more money too, right?
Isn't
There's
Clyde
smaller
rookie?
rookies. Clyde Drexler's in there too. Yes, Clyde the Glide. He's in there as well.
A lot
But
of superstar players are in there.
yeah, I mean, Star came out a few years before with some of those players, right? But the '86 set is just iconic because of the look and because of the rookies that are in there, right? But a lot of those rookies came out in Star like a few years earlier. The '83, '84 Star and also the '84, '85 Star and '85, '86, right?
Yeah, do you have the Michael Jordan star? I'm pretty sure you
I
bought
do.
it, didn't you?
Yeah, I have a Star 101. I also have a lot of other Star rookies too from '83. From '83, I think I have an Isaiah and I have a James Worthy from '83,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
Worthy too in 86.
from '83, '84, right? Star. So Jordan's '84 5, and then '85 6 is Patrick Ewing.
That's
I
true,
have a
yeah.
Ewan as well. Yeah,
He's also a Flair rookie in the Flair set.
in the Flair set too, of course, right?
Mm-hmm. So like let's go back to when you started collecting. Could you share with us some tips for beginners? Like when you were starting, it was a totally different ball game. Packs were 20 cents. It was way cheaper. But nowadays, how would you start a collection?
Well, I would wait. To be honest with you, people are always chasing, the bigger rookies, and people just come out. Let's just talk about, say, Connor Bedard or Victor Wembanyama, right? So if you talk about those guys, right, what I would do for collectors is I would just wait until the off season, and you would buy it a little cheaper. I wouldn't get those particular guys as soon as they come out. So you would save a lot of money. For newer collectors, I would just wait instead of doing the FOMO thing.
Just by
Just
singles?
just buy singles, but wait until the off season where it's going to be cheaper.
What do you think of this kid? You think he's good or no?
Yeah,
You like Wemby?
I like Wemby. Wemby has put up stats that are close to my favorite player, in his rookie year. So yeah, I do like Wemby. He's the real deal, and if he stays healthy, he'll be
Hopefully,
a force in
that's
the
the biggest thing about Wemby.
yeah. Thing about Wemby, but it'll. I think he'll be a good one to collect. His stuff has been going steadily up and up and up, but I think that will probably take a hit as soon as the off season comes. You'll see stuff go a little bit cheaper on Wemby stuff for sure, guaranteed. Right? They're always
Yeah,
hot
then when the
in
season
they're
kicks
in the
in,
season. Yeah.
when the season kicks in, it's
Well,
gonna spike again, probably.
it will. I would say that Wemby would probably be going up when the season kicks in, but for the next couple of months, you're going to see it decline.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. So as you said before, like the Beckett price guide, um, like with the rise of like these platforms recently, like eBay, Golden, which was actually recently acquired by eBay, PWCC, ComC, etc. How has the landscape of buying and selling cards changed for you over the years?
I mean, I used to buy a lot in person, but now you can buy anything online, right?
Yeah,
So, and I still at card shows, I still prefer to buy things in person. So if someone makes a deal and they're coming to say the expo, I tell them to bring the cards. But there are some cases where I do trades or I do buying from people that are in the States or in Europe or in China for that matter, Asia, and you have to, it's an
you have to
online thing. And
accommodate. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's the biggest thing. But generally I like to buy my stuff in person, almost always.
So when you buy online, how do you stay safe online?
Well, you're protected, right? You're protected by eBay. So if someone tries to scam you, essentially you will get your money back. But I haven't run into any really bad problems on eBay, right? Or any other platforms like MySlabs, for example. Like that's another platform where I bought stuff off there. You can go to multiple Facebook groups and you can buy cards there as well. You can get vouchers, see if this person's all right. Before you send the money, right?
Of course, yeah. So have you used like these there's two new platforms actually that came out recently. Veriswap and MyCardPost. They both do like some trading things on them. I've used
So
Veriswap. That's where I got my magic off of,
I know
actually.
very, very well because I know Raymond Lee. Him and I are very good friends. So
Yeah,
the
he's a
owner of
nice guy.
Veriswap.
I like him.
Yeah, he's really good, and he created that platform. I did business with Raymond, well before he created that platform, and it's a great platform for it's a safe platform for people who trade.
Exactly.
You can both send your cards, not worry about if someone's not going to get their cards, right?
Hmm.
And as long as you guys come to a deal or an agreement, you guys should be fine. Like if it's these three cards for this one card or vice versa, or value wise, then you guys are good, safe, and it's a great. He saw something that was needed in the hobby. He created it, and it works. In
It
fact, it
does.
works really well.
It really does.
You know,
It's honestly a game changer. I've done a lot of trades on Veriswap. Like, how often do you see this at a show in Toronto?
well, if you come to my booth, you'll see it quite often.
I know at your booth,
Right?
but if
Okay.
you go to like any place but your booth, chances are you probably won't see it.
No.
Like you need to go to the U.S. to buy it. If you went to National, I'm sure you'd see a lot of them. So
National. You would definitely see a lot of Bird Magic rookies at the National. There would be hundreds of them in the room. That I can promise you.
yeah,
Right? So, but yeah, up here you probably won't see as many. Definitely
yeah.
not.
So Veriswap allows you to get those cards at a safe, in a safe manner, and do
I
trades, which I like.
It's good. I mean, I've used the platform. It's very safe, very good, and I think it'll be used from now on going forward, especially for people who just want to do trading without exchanging actual money, right? So
Hmm.
yeah.
So like
Very cool.
I know you kind of explained this, but like can you explain in more depth how you value and check prices as the prices change every day and all the time in the hobby right now?
Oh, the companies that I use for comps, is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Mhm.
So I use two of them right now. The first one is Alt. So I use Alt quite a bit. And they're really good people. I know the company, I know a few of the people. I also use Market Movers.
You
That
don't use
was
card
one
ladder?
that Market Movers has been developed by Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know Jeff Wilson.
I use that. Those are the two I mainly use. 130 point maybe, every so often, but if you want to see like a whole list of the comps, it's just a lot easier with those two because they will show you the most recent ones and as many. Sometimes with 130 point, the comps are gone after 3 months. And maybe the last card didn't sell until it was like 3 months, 4 months ago. So that's why you need alt and you need market movers. They can go back. Well, alt goes back 2 years, so you can see comps going back basically 2 years. And if that doesn't work, and it's such a rare card or a high-end vintage card, then you can use the PWCC or the Heritage platform or the Golden platform, where you can type in the card and see, when the last one sold. Like say a Mickey Mantle, I don't know, PSA 6 or 7, like a 52 tops,
Yeah, those
somewhere
are
in there.
yeah.
Right. So you might not see one of those on eBay, or you might not know when the last one sold. But if you go there, it makes it very easy. You can research anything on those platforms, and sometimes I use that. It's very easy to use. So for a really really rare card that might have only been sold by a PWCC or a Golden, that's where you would probably go, right? If you
Mhm.
can't find it on the other platforms.
Of course. You don't use card ladder.
I use them a little bit. Sorry, you know what? I did forget about Card Ladder. I use them a little bit, but not as much as I use the other two. I find the other two a little bit more user friendly, especially when you're taking pictures of the cards too, right? They're like I think Alt was one of the first ones where you could snapshot the picture of the card, and then automatically the comps
Yeah.
come up, right? So you don't actually have to type it in, right?
Mhm.
So they were one of the first to develop that. Market movers, they have a similar one like that, but it's very detailed, especially for the vintage, which is what I like about market movers.
Mhm. So what's like the most memorable card you've had while running your shop or interacting with people at a card shop?
Mm, That's a hard question to answer, actually. Like, are you asking my favorite card
Yeah, your
that I've
favorite.
had?
Yeah.
It would probably have to be if I had to go back, the 1948 Jackie Robinson. I had
That's from
a
Gaudi.
PS, I had a PSA. I think it was a 6 or 7 at the time, right? And that was one of my favorite ones. If I had to pick one, I mean, Jordan stuff is always my favorite, like currently, right? But if you're talking about one particular card at one point in time, it would probably been the Jackie Robinson, right? Which
That's
I don't own anymore, but that was probably my favorite of
yeah, that's
all.
an unbelievable card and super rare to come by. I don't even think I've seen one in my life in person.
You can find them at various card shows in the United States, but usually they're in very low grade. They're like between one and threes. So anything above a five in that card is pretty big,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Mhm. So like how do you stay connected with the card community and like and what role does social media play in your business?
Social media plays a very big role. I mean, I do a lot of Instagram live. Just to let you know, I have a number of Instagram lives coming up. One with Relics tomorrow. So we'll be talking to
Awesome.
that card store. And we did Breaker's Choice last night. We always have a giveaway. I have Slab Sharks on Monday. So I'll be talking to Karn Rye of Slab Sharks on Monday. And then my big one before Expo is Arena Club. I have a really big announcement with Arena Club. which
That's
you will
exciting.
find out on Tuesday. And Arena Club is changing the game. They are a game changer. They're probably one of my
AI card
favorite
grading.
companies. What's that?
It's AI card grading, right?
They're like slabs in packs, and you would get codes. You can see the different cards that you're going to get. They're very transparent. They have a list of what you can pull in the packs. And right now I think they do almost every sport but hockey. So they do Pokemon, and then higher end baseball, first Bowman Chromes. They'll do football, a lot of basketball. They do a lot of basketball. So they're really changing how things are going, and I feel like people are getting their money's worth. You're buying $100 pack that you don't know what you're getting in. You could do that any day of the week here, right? And probably you could spend $100 and get $10 back. You
Exactly. Yeah,
know,
you could buy a hobby box for 1,000 and get
you
maybe
might
10 bucks back or what?
you might get $100 back, but at least you'll get close to the value of what you're buying, and it'll be a slab, and they have it listed. You would have to go on their website, but they have a list of everything that they have. And I'll be talking to one of the main people there. His name's Matt, and we will be chatting about Arena Club and how it can come to Canada. And we have a big surprise. Also, I'll be talking to Burbank Sports Cards. So that's my favorite store of all time. I'm not going to lie to anyone here, but I've been to that store. I can't even tell you how many times. I enjoy going to it, and the Burbank Card Show. I'll be talking to Rob, from the owner of Burbank Cards, and then I'll be talking to Jay, the one that runs the Burbank Card Show, which is primarily the best card show on the West Coast, bar none. It's by far the best. There are a number of different shows probably on the West Coast, but nothing like that. And in my opinion, no store that I've ever been to or been a part of has the stock of a Burbank card store. None. Not that kind of stock. You
It's
can
so
find
huge.
everything there. Everything. They have the biggest stock probably in the USA, in North America for sure, right? So, and I've done a lot of business with them. So I would, for me, like, if you ever ask me my absolute favorite one, they're always going to be at the top of my list. There are a number of stores here that I do enjoy, that I like going to, and that I talk to on a daily basis. But I think my biggest interview is probably coming up with them for the most part. But the stores that I do interview here, they're great stores, great people, and love going to them. But you'll see that interview after Expo. I've arranged an IG live with them, and then with the show. The show's given me an exclusive. They're doing something very different, which I can't talk about right now, but I will talk about in May.
It's exciting.
Yeah, so exciting. They're making moves that are going to be game changers for shows, right? So I know you wanted to talk about different shows as well. I know that's what you did ask me that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so like there's a couple shows and shops that are actually upcoming. That
Mhm.
one that Jeff Wilson actually just opened called Cards HQ in Atlanta.
I know very well.
Have you been there yet or no?
No, Jeff gave me a personal invite to the store, but I couldn't make it. I had other commitments. I wanted to make it for the opening, but I just couldn't do it. And then I think I had the CSC show coming up that same weekend, and that was one of the reasons I couldn't make it as well, because I had a commitment here already. But I did get invited. I know that eventually I'll make it out there when I probably do like one of the Culture Collision shows. That's another big show in the U.S. is Culture
Yeah,
Collision.
Culture Collision in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah, and when I end up doing one of those shows, I'll probably go and visit Jeff's show. Jeff might be up here for Expo. I don't know if he's coming or not. I haven't
I
messaged him.
think he is. I'm not sure though.
I think I saw Jeff about a year and a half ago, maybe. He was at about 2 or 3 shows ago, at Expo. And then I see Jeff all the time in the U.S. So he's usually there with his crew, or he's got a table now, buying for his store. So he
Yeah,
does a lot of
Cards
buying at the
HQ. He's
shows.
buying for Cards HQ.
just at Chantilly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
The
he's
show in Virgin, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's he's a guy I talked to or I've talked to on several occasions, and he's great to do deals with. Jeff's really good to do deals with. Especially if they're higher end higher end cards, which he likes, right?
I know he does. He's the
Yeah,
sports good investor, as they call him.
he is.
We got to get a podcast with Jeff.
Oh, you're gonna have to make that happen.
It's on my list.
Jeff's a busy guy. Jeff's a busy guy. So
It's on my list. I was gonna do some of the guys from Cards HQ. They said that they would probably do it, but
they might. I mean, it just depends on Jeff's schedule, or you might be able to schedule something with one of the people that work in the store,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the alternative in case Jeff's busy. Jeff's got a busy life with his family
There's
as
Steve,
well. So, yeah.
Harrison,
Yeah.
all those guys. Yeah.
Got a very busy life.
So an exciting thing that actually just got announced was Fanatics Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're very high on it.
I'm very on. It's the most. I've never been excited for a show as much as I am for the Fanatics New York show. Never. They're going to change the game. That show is going to be a game changer, and it's a game changer because of the athletes that are involved, of what they can do. Because Michael Rubin's behind it. I mean, they have tremendous athletes in their stable. Money. There's no. I don't think there's a show on the planet that could compete realistically with their financial resources and their clout. So I can honestly say I've been doing the expo for 33 years. I was at the very first one. I was at the very first Burbank show. And here I want to be at the very first Fanatic show. So I will have a booth there. I'll be doing advertising for it. I will be advertising in real time with more information on that show, which will be more so after Expo. I'm concentrating on Expo right now, and then I'm going to do Burbank and Fanatics. Yeah, full-time Fanatics after that. So there will be more information coming out. I'm sure you saw their promo last week. I think it was released a week ago, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome with Tom Brady, Durant, just to name a few athletes. Derek Jeter.
Well, there'll be more athletes than that. They have a lot of athletes in their stable. They have Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum, Victor.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama is going to be could be there. They also have Otani. I don't think Otani will be there because baseball season's still going on. But there will be. I mean, they have Austin Matthews as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot. They've got some really big players, and they have the clout to invite anybody there. They can make it as big as they want. And I think that they will probably, in a year or two, that might be the premier show to be at. And guess what? They're in New York City. If you're going to make a splash, there's one of three places to go: New York, Florida, or California.
Of course.
Big place, and the venue is big. So I anticipate big things for that show. They're going to have a couple of shows this year, but next year they're going to have way more because they take over all the licenses next year too, right?
Yeah, they take over NBA, NFL. Topps Chrome is coming back probably.
Yep. All of those. So you're going to see all of that next year, and they will probably. I mean, they're only going to do a couple of shows this year, but I anticipate they'll probably do like 5 shows next year. And it'll just get bigger.
Yeah. And they'll get like a lot of athletes and stuff to come. I mean, even if you see with the trade nights that they're hosting, they had a trade night with Tom Brady and Kevin Hart came. Yep. A bunch of trade nights where rappers came, athletes. Chipper Jones came to Cards HQ in Atlanta.
I saw that.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to come to Toronto next. I'm hoping.
They might. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I just believe that Michael Rubin will make it the very best. Like if you're going to have the very first show, you're going to make it a show that everybody will remember.
Yeah,
You
none of
know,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if so many people remember the very first shows of some of these other big shows, but I promise you, Fanatics is going to make it memorable for a lot of people,
I'm sure
right?
it will.
You know, when you leave there, you're going to be like, I'll never forget this, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the idea that they're looking for. I'm happy. I'm working with them as well, and the shows that I would commit myself to for any time, like for the year, would be basically Expo, um, National. Although I will not be at this year's National, I'll be skipping this year. I'll be going back to Chicago, so I'll be doing Chicago in 25 and 26. But I'm going to skip the Cleveland show. It's just too hard because you have Cleveland, then you
Yeah, you
have
don't want to go
Fanatics.
back. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's back to back to back,
Cleveland,
right?
Addicts, Burbank.
Because that's what it is. It's Cleveland, then it's New York, and then right after New York is Burbank. So that would mean I would have to stay a minimum of 30 days in the United States, and it's just a long time to stay there.
Exactly.
So I have to something's got to give.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? I don't have a problem missing the national this year, but I'll go back to Chicago next year. It's fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be my first national. Hopefully, I'm probably gonna go to Fanatics Fest. I'm very excited for that. The
I think you'll have a
expo
good time.
is coming up literally in a week.
A week today.
Canada's best code show. Um, you could argue it's top three in the world right now, but
It's definitely the tops in Canada. Top three, yes, I would say that. I mean, I would put the National and the Sport Card Expo like 1A, 1B, right?
really,
That's yeah, yeah. I mean, look, they both are great shows. I mean, the Sport Card Expo has probably as much or more square footage than the National. I don't know if you know that, right? So it's the show is as big now in terms of the people that actually walk through it is very different. You know, the makeup of who walks through Sport Card Expo versus who walks through the National are completely different. National has people from all over the world coming,
mm-hmm.
right? Where in Sport Card Expo, it's still pretty much primarily 85-90% Canadian, right? Or people that are local, Ontario, or different parts of Canada. But, you know, that's being changed. I mean, you've got people from the States now coming.
Yeah, you got
I'm sure
Mojo,
there'll be,
all those
yeah,
guys
but
coming now, all the influencers.
those, so the influencers are one thing. I'm talking about the customers, that the American customers who are coming down there to buy, right? You know, they're the national we want to attract, and when I say we, because I always feel like I'm part of it, um, they we want, or what I would like to see, obviously, are more people from different countries coming, right? They're coming to shop, they're coming to have a good time, they're staying in Toronto, and they're coming from you know Asia, they're coming from the UK, anywhere in Europe. You know, that's what you want. You want a more international event. And the reason why it hasn't come to that yet is because the majority of Expo still, to some degree, is
It's
hockey.
yeah,
And I'd always like to say Expo is not just a hockey show, and you can buy other sports there like soccer or even baseball, football, but
mainly
primarily people still think it's a hockey show,
it's
and
like
there
eighty
are a
percent
lot of
hockey.
yeah,
I'd say.
probably
So
80% hockey, probably, yeah,
every
probably,
table
but
you walk by pretty much has one Wayne Gretzky rookie at least. Like
or Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews, yes,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but that's what it is. Like you have a lot of Americans per se saying, "Hey, we'd love to come to the expo, but we hear there's no baseball, there's no football, there's no basketball. We hear that it's 80% hockey, which we don't collect." I can tell you by doing, I don't know, like a dozen nationals, that if I've sold 20 hockey cards in that period of time, that might be a lot, right? Hockey generally doesn't sell in the US. It really
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, unfortunately, right? I mean, if it does, it's only like the top heavy
Connor
players.
McDavid, Sidney Crosby,
Yeah,
those guys, Wayne Gretzky.
correct. That's it. That's all they want. It's the top 4 or 5 guys. Where basketball, they want everybody. Football, they want everybody. I mean, football is delegated to the quarterbacks. Basketball is delegated to more the rookies and the veteran players, or Kobe, LeBron, Jordan. Those that kind of stuff. And soccer is pretty big too.
So, as like a lifelong collector yourself, you said that you've been collecting for like 40 plus years. What keeps you passionate about sports card collecting? Like, are you
Just
passionate
every
about Fanatics or like what? Like, I know Fanatics is taking a takeover here. I know they're going to be adding a lot of parallels, a lot of different things to the hobby, lots of different concepts like LeBron autos. That's another guy that Fanatics has, LeBron. That's
They have
huge.
LeBron. That's huge. They will. I mean, those autos will be pretty big. They unfortunately they don't have Jordan. Upper Deck still owns the
Upper
rights to
Deck.
Jordan. Yeah.
They got
So,
high Upper Deck.
well, somehow they got LeBron. I'm not sure how they did it, but they somehow wrestled LeBron out of Upper Deck. I don't know how they did that, but I mean, for the most part, they you never know. I mean, LeBron could be at that show for all I know. He could be at the the Fanatic show. He could
That
be
would be
there.
crazy. That would be a
Yeah.
crazy surprise appearance. LeBron,
So
Wemby, JT, those guys could all come out.
they could also have Steph Curry there. There's
Oh
there's
yeah,
there's
he's also Fanatics.
yeah.
So many guys.
There's a lot of basketball guys. So there could be a lot of players that they could have there. That could be a very big draw. I mean, you'll find out in the next few weeks. They're going to keep on coming out with promos. They're going to be advertising nationally, like on ESPN, like
Really?
formats like that. Yep. Yeah, I can tell you for sure.
That's
I
gonna
can
be
tell you
crazy.
100%.
Seeing
Yeah.
like sports card show ads on ESPN and stuff. I mean, it's not only
Yeah.
sports cards; it's memorabilia too. It's
Yeah.
just sports in general, honestly.
Well, for the expo, for my booth, for example, I try to, what I can say is that I try to put everything in a very neat format. I love that particular show for what it brings, but with Fanatics, I'm not even sure what to bring when I do that show. I'm I don't know if I should bring more soccer, less soccer. Do I bring more hockey now? Because it's in New York, so hockey could very well sell in New York, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. I know what to bring when I go to Expo, but
And the
I don't know.
national too. You know what to bring to
Yeah,
the national.
yeah, you know what to bring to the national. I bring
Jordan,
very, yeah,
football, no
Jordan, LeBron,
hockey.
Kobe, no hockey. Yeah, I remember even last national, I sold one hockey card at national. I did very well overall, but I mean, I had a really decent hockey showcase. I would like to think, but I sold one card. It was a Connor McDavid PSA 10 Young Gun. That's what I sold. My only hockey card I sold there. Meanwhile, I sold like multiple Jordans and LeBrons and Kobe's, right? And also 86.7 Fleer, vintage, sealed boxes. So it was that was a really good show. And then even the last expo was really good, right? And now you've got Connor Bedard that just
Oh
came out.
yeah, him
So
too.
I expect a lot of people to be at this expo. I really do, right?
I mean,
Uh,
Bedard could also be another guy that would sell well at the national.
yeah. I mean, look, the expo is going to be very exciting. They've got a good guest list. I bought a ticket to
Dennis
get a Dennis.
Rodman.
Yeah, I bought a ticket. Cost me 150 bucks, but I want him to sign my 88-89 Flair rookie card, right?
What?
So I'm
I'm
going to get
debating
him to
on
sign
buying a
that.
ticket.
Bought one. I'm getting them to sign my slab though. I don't want to break my slab. It's a 9.5. I have a 9.5 Dennis Rodman,
Oh, so you're gonna get him
right?
to sign like the
Yeah,
surface?
I'm just gonna say get him to sign the surface. Not a big deal. Like I just want the experience of just meeting him and getting the autograph, right? So I'm gonna go there on the Saturday. The guest list is really good. You've got William Shatner. He's very popular. You've got George
Trailer
St.
Park Boys.
Pierre. I don't know. Well, maybe them. I don't know. I don't know how popular the Trailer Park Boys are, but I know William Shatner and I know George St. Pierre, right? So they're
There's
going to be good.
a lot of good guests coming.
Yeah, they've got a lot of guests. I mean, for the most part, I'm there all 4 days. I'll be taking part on the Friday night of the Customer Appreciation Night for CSC. So I will be doing, I'll be there for a little bit. Other than that, I'm going to be at my booth almost the entire time because I have giveaways that I'm doing as well as selling, especially, I don't know if I have it here. Actually, I do have it here. Yeah.
Oh, series two.
Series two. So we have a giveaway, and the giveaway is basically you have a shot at this box, which will be drawn by Breaker's Choice on Thursday at 12 noon. And what you have to do, you have to follow me at Sluggers55 and Sport Card Expo. Like, you have to tag one person, and you have to, if you can, share the story. That would be appreciated. So that's
I'm
what we
entered.
got going on. Yeah, you're entered. I did see that. You are entered, and you'll find out. We're going to be doing more in that particular draw. There will be more.
That's
So, and
awesome.
I will be announcing that next week. So even if you don't win that box, you could be winning some other things.
That's a cool giveaway.
Yeah. So and that's why Breaker's Choice is doing it. I actually bought the box from Breaker's Choice. So that's one of the reasons they're drawing for it too. They're doing the draw. We've had a very good relationship, me and that store. So yeah, that's pretty much my
Awesome owners.
weekend. What's that?
Awesome owners at Breaker's Choice.
Yes, they are. Nick and George. They're wonderful. George is wonderful. Great guy. We spoke last night, and I was promoting their store, especially for people who live in Burlington. Great store to go in. I can't say enough. Relics I've got coming up
David.
tomorrow with Dave. Yep. So Dave and I are going to have a little chat at Relics tomorrow. I will have some other people later on, but as of right now, I have to focus on Slab Sharks
Yes,
and then Arena Club, and then I have to, before I get to more card stores, I have to work with Burbank and I have to work with Fanatics. So
Fanatics and
I
yeah.
yeah.
It's a
So
busy
those are the
lineup.
it's a very busy lineup, and I'm doing those shows, and it's a lot to do. I mean, it's 4 days traveling, setting up. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. Like you just go there. It's not just easy to just fly in and go and set up. It's a lot. It's a long process, right?
Exactly.
And expensive as well.
Exactly. Like you gotta pack up the case, you gotta take it on the plane, you gotta do all that, you gotta get through customs.
Plane ticket, hotel, venue, food. Do the math. It's thousands of dollars, right? Before
True.
you even sell anything, you're in the hole for thousands of dollars. A hotel in New York City, you know what that costs?
How much?
They're like 300 US a night on average. All right. So, you're going to get a little bit of a deal if you're at the show. You can buy, they're going to explain later on, they're buying a block of hotels
Oh,
where
that's
if you log,
exciting.
yeah, if you log in, you'll get a discount. I don't know how much of a discount you'll get, but you will get a discount. So it makes it a lot easier that you can book a hotel near the venue and you'll get, it may be 10 or 20% off, but at least it's something, right? So it'll have
I'm gonna wait for
it's
that to book my hotel.
you might have to wait, and then when the hotel block goes up is when you go in and you book it right through the hotel or right through. I think they're probably going to put a link on the website
On the
where you
website.
just go directly in and you know you go and set a reservation for that particular hotel,
So
right?
something about the national is like the culture. Apparently there's like a trade night every night. Is that true?
That is true. That's absolutely true. At the National, there's a trade night every night.
And where can you
That
find
that I can tell you right now, the trade night at National is probably the biggest in the world, for sure, no doubt. I've been to a number of shows. Nothing can beat the National in terms of a trade night with the volume of people,
I mean Minton
right?
Trade Night has a lot of people at the expo.
My friend, the National has thousands at their trade night.
I know.
Thousands. Okay, so You know, there is no trade night that can ever compare to a national. I can say that with absolute authority.
Do you think
Okay. And
Fanatics will have like a trade night?
sorry, what?
Do you think Fanatics will have like a trade night every night?
They might. I don't know. It hasn't been said, but why not? They
Exactly.
probably
Why not?
will, right? You know, I think the biggest trade night I ever went to was 2 years ago at the National, and there was one room had to be several thousand people at that trade night in this one area in our hotel. And
Oh,
I've never seen anything like it. It was just it was like going to a big card show right then and there, right? So it was
that's
pretty
crazy.
interesting. You know, I don't really attend very many trade nights, to be honest with you, especially if it's a day where it's been a 14-hour day, meaning getting up at four, like 5, 6 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning, you
driving.
know, driving there, getting up for breakfast, setting up, and then so it comes, getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and the show closes at 6 or 8 at night, and then you want to grab a bite to eat, and then you want to just go to bed, and it just repeats over and over, right? So
Mhm.
it's just like if you're not there working, trade night's easy to do. It's an easy thing
Exactly.
to do, right? But if you're working, actually working the show, working behind a booth, buying, selling, trading, it's a grind and it's tiresome.
Yeah, for sure.
So by the time you're done, you just want to grab a bite and go to bed. That's it. So you don't have time to do a trade night per se, right? But it's definitely the biggest. Actually, I saw a really big one at Burbank when I was there last month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was when I went to the Burbank card show, they had a massive one in
Wasn't that with
Ontario.
Mojo?
What's that?
Wasn't Mojo hosting that one?
I don't remember if Mojo was hosting that one. He may have. I'm not entirely sure because they had two. One was
Yeah.
in Ontario, and then the other one was in the Anaheim one. So the next show that I'm doing is at the Anaheim, right? And Mojo would probably be hosting that one. But the Anaheim one was really big last year. That trade night was monstrous, right? So I remember I didn't, I think I went by it, but here's the other thing too. There's not one particular area for trade nights when it comes to the National or Burbank. Sometimes
They're everywhere.
they're everywhere. Exactly. You could go to like multiple hotels, okay, and they're there in every hotel. The only thing is, there's been a couple of hotels even at the National where it was cleared out because it was a fire hazard. There were so many people. So think about that for a second, right? That's how many people would
That's
attend if it's a
crazy.
fire. Yeah, it's really big. I've been to so many different shows, but definitely, I mean, in my experience, the most I've ever seen at one particular trade night was definitely National. And sometimes it's in one area, sometimes it's in multiple areas. But I've
Exactly.
seen I've seen a trade night being closed down because there it was a fire hazard. I saw it closed down.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they had to shut it down because there were just too many people. It would have created it would have been pandemonium if everybody had to run out of there, right? So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, as the expo is coming up, can you like share with us how you prepare? This is like the last question.
How I prepare for the expo. Last question. Okay, so I prepare a month in advance for expo. 1 month, usually. I'm usually cataloging cards. I don't price cards until the last week of sorry, yeah. So when next week, for example, I'll be pricing my cards, simply because comps change
Oh,
all the time.
yeah, comps change every day.
So I want to be as close to comps as possible for that. But I have things like slab mags, which I have to put aside. I have things like boxes that I have to put aside. So I have to catalog everything, and then everything gets packed away. And that's one of the reasons I don't have any cards for you, unfortunately, in this one. But you'll see them at my booth. Come to my booth, 522, 523, right? And you'll see those cards. But we pack them
I'll
away
definitely get
well before we go to the show, right? It's just that I have to do last minute comps on a few different cards and just do it that way. I when I start a month ago from say a month from Expo, I don't want to price the cards because things go up, things go down.
Comps go up,
Yeah.
down, everywhere.
So you want to be within reason, right? That's all I can say. You want to be within reason. And that's the reason why I price my cards at the very last minute. So that's mainly the preparation that I do, cataloging, comping. Comping takes a long time, and then pricing. It can take you a week to just to price cards, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of what I do for the expo. I have the people that are with me, and what happens is they help me out with regards to setting up the booth, helping me sell, looking after customers. It's very difficult. Like you can't ever do a national or a sport card expo by yourself. It's literally impossible
Of course.
because you've got people who want to they want to buy some stuff from you. Then you have people that are in line waiting to sell stuff to you, right? So you need a good amount of
A good
people
team.
at the booth. Yeah, you need a good amount of people at the booth, right?
Mhm.
Because you can't navigate it by yourself. It's just too hard, right? Especially if you have like on the Friday and the Saturday of the expo, impossible to navigate by yourself.
Impossible.
You
Last
can't do
Saturday
it.
there was 30. Last Expo there was 35,000 people on the Saturday.
It was
I
a
was there
lot.
too. I was there too. I couldn't get through the hallway between PSA and the main room. It took me 5 minutes, so I just stayed in the PSA room. I didn't even explore the main room.
It will. I think this expo will be as busy as the last one. I really feel that. I know last expo they had Tyson, that was a big draw, and they had Ric Flair, which was a big draw.
But
But
Dennis Rodman,
yeah, Rodman's a big draw. William Shatner is a big, big draw, and Georges St. Pierre. I know they have a number of other signers there, but those are the three that come to my mind in terms of the three biggest ones that I think of. I mean, based on what they charge for autographs, I would think they're pretty big, right?
yeah. I'm just looking on my phone for the autograph signers. Kevin Lowe, Ken Lintzman, Thomas Ian Nicholas, the Trailer Park Boys, the Sutter Brothers, Pete Stemkowski, Pierre LaRouche, Gary Unger, Shooter McGavin is coming, William Shatner, or Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Those are
Main
basically
headliners, yeah, the guys that I mentioned, but I think the expo is going to do really well. I really feel
and a
that. I
bunch
think
of
it's
others. Yeah,
it might break the last record. It might.
it
I'm hoping.
might. Honestly,
I
the expo has been going up, 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 up since I've been to the expo. A lot of new vendors, a lot of new people setting up. Hopefully, we'll be setting up soon. That's my goal.
it's I'm sure you'll do very well there buying, selling, trading. I mean, it's
It's a
going to
lot
be
of
a long it's going to be a good weekend. It's going to be a good weekend, Aaron. So, I think you'll have a good time. It'll be a good weekend regardless. I have a good time regardless if I do thousands of dollars or I do $1, right? Which I don't really ever do, but it's just I have a good time when I'm there,
yeah.
right? And we have a very special night on a Saturday. A whole bunch of us go. It's a tradition that we do. We go to a nice big lobster place, and a whole bunch of us, friends, people that do the expo, are going to be there, and it's something that we do semi-annually, right? So it's a lot of fun to spend time with friends and family, especially people that are in the hobby as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
a lot of
love how
fun.
all the influencers and everyone's just spending time with the community and stuff, honestly. It's honestly amazing. Like, even on Thursday, they're doing a
Yeah.
community night at Jack Astor's.
Yeah, I've been to that one, the one that's held by Jeremy Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one.
I
The I
want to
think
go.
it's a good one. It's a tight space though. You'll see what I mean if you go there, right?
Yeah,
There's
I
one
want
area where everybody can go, and sometimes it's just really hard to get in if everybody's there. But it's a good one. I've been to that one. It's nice. Jeremy Lee puts on a really good. a good event or a good
Yeah,
venue.
he's also another great podcaster. One of my inspirations, actually.
Yeah, yeah, he's really good. He's great at what he does. I've known Jeremy for a long
Hmm.
time, and he does a really good job on his podcast. I think I was one of his very few first people when he started back in 2020. Yeah, I was probably one
Probably.
of the very first. I would think so, but I have to go through it. But yeah, I mean, I've been on the show I think twice, and I enjoy Jeremy's content. He has a lot of really good people, and he will have a lot of maybe even the same people that I have on that I'm doing Instagram Live with. So, but I'll know better when I see him at Expo. So, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it out on the Thursday night. But we'll see. It's difficult because it's just a long night, especially with the setup and everything. Like,
Yeah,
the setting up in the morning, and then I think the expo it starts at is it 11
5
a.m. or is it no? I think it's earlier than
Thursday
that. No, it might be. I have to double check.
on the
Right?
5. I think it's like 4 or 5. I'm not. I'm not
Oh,
going.
it might be. It might be later in the afternoon. I have to do setup as early as the morning on the Thursday, and then I have the Instagram live where we're giving away the box, right? So I have to be there. And Expo actually also is doing. We're doing a dual live Instagram for the winner.
That's cool.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of giveaways. Maybe you win the box, Aaron. You never know, right?
Imagine I win the series 2. I pull a 1 of 1 Bedard.
Yeah. And David Adams is right there. You can go collect your money.
Exactly, 1 million.
Right? Yeah, they'll be there.
That'd be
I think
crazy.
they're. I think David Adams is under Hit Parade. I think that's. I think that's. They're. I don't know if they're under David Adams or Hit Parade. I'm not sure.
They were
I
under
mean,
David
they'll. Be,
last year.
oh, were they? Okay, so yeah, but their main product that they buy for and
Is
they
hip.
sell a lot of is Hit Parade. So I wasn't sure which one, but they'll be under one or the other. But
Oh,
you know,
they had both last year.
both last year. Okay, see, that's I didn't know. I thought it was one or the other, right?
Yeah.
So they do a lot of buying there. So they do really well at the expo. I think a lot of Americans will be coming up, like not just from David Adams area,
I
but
need to sell
from
it on.
all over.
I need to sell a little to them.
What's that?
I need to sell a little bit of cards to them.
Who, David Adams?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean they're buying,
They're buying.
right?
They're always buying.
Yeah. Well, if you go to their hit parade, they do really well. They buy a lot of different slabs, probably in the range of $50 to $400 slabs. They buy all the time, but I think they're buying mostly hockey here. I don't know about the other sports. I think if they're buying anything, they're buying strictly hockey because this is the one place that they can find all the
Yeah.
hockey they want.
Yeah.
In the U.S. shows, they can't find the volume of hockey that they can find here, right? So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for being on the podcast with me.
Not a
It
problem.
was it was truly unbelievable to have you on here. One of my dreams come true, honestly. Great guest to have.
I appreciate it. Anytime that you want to ask something, just let me know. You can come by the booth anytime.
I'll
It's
definitely see some content at the booth.
cool for sure. Well, we'll have a lot of surprise guests at the booth too, which I'll be announcing next week.
Oh,
So you'll see. You'll see what I have to say about it when I go on. I'll be doing
watch Dennis
my
Rodman at the booth.
No, I don't think he'll be at the booth, but I'll have some other people there. You'll see. Right?
Jeter.
No, I don't think so.
That's
But I'll leave it for next week. You'll find out.
okay. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you so much, Carlos,
All
for
right.
hopping
You take
on the podcast
care.
with me. You
You're
too.
welcome.
Okay.